map. This is a map that a lot of people do enjoy. So we'll go ahead and get into this, it looks like. Straight onto game one, best of three. And here we go. We'll switch over into the casting scene. Air. Alright. We can see right now calling out different builds from Winford. That's definitely something that you see. We have a lot of POVs that you guys will be able to see from. We'll start with Kiwi off of the Seeker gameplay. We'll get the scoreboard up there for you guys, and there we go, straight into this matchup. We're watching Kiwi trying to get that first snitch find, but it doesn't go their way. It goes first to the Squires, with have Dementor on their side. So we'll switch sides. They get the 5% on Dementor. Very nicely played for him. Going out right now, we see FM. He's currently heading to the right side, currently possession in WM on Chaser. Kind of setting up for a one-timer, kind of right by Count Tails, I believe, is keeping. There we go. Not Count Tails is keeping on one side, and then Squires on the other side. We'll go ahead and switch sides real quick. There we go. Make sure that we get those icons for you. All right. Just so we make sure everything looking good real quick, we'll switch perspectives. You guys will be able to see on the other side the knockout Squires. So Dementor is over here running, and we'll be watching his point of view for the most part. Some extra damage right now coming from Winford. You see Dementor has a tackle worth of damage out of him, and there goes down another. That 4 health right now, in each of those 5% chunks, it's huge, but there he goes. Winford takes down Dementor. We'll go ahead and switch sides again, going back over to the Nifflers. We're looking at FM setting up for another one-timer. Doesn't come through his way, though. It gets stolen back in possession right now of the Squires. Squires currently holding on to it from the keeper, and then it goes out to... There we go. We're watching right now as it goes back and forth between these teams. Quaffle has not been scored, 0-0. It's currently a minute and a half into the game so far. Good defense from both sides, but I think it's Time Bomb ultimately as a keeper that's adding a lot of this pressure. And we see the one-timer set up there. Well played. If we take a look, we see that it set up behind the hoops, and FM was in front of the hoops. And so it kind of made Time Bomb a little bit wary about where it was going to come from going into that. First goal going to Nifflers at the 5-minute mark. 10-0. We're currently taking a look at the snitch as well. It's looking about 70% both sides, maybe a little under that. Pretty close, and even though Dementor did die, it can go either way currently. We'll go ahead and take a look at Count Tails' perspective. Oh, it looks like he has a little brighter of a screen than most as it goes into him. He was able to get the catch and kick it out there. Able to get a nice intercept. Wasn't able to get a hero kick off of that, or power kick. We'll look at Winford's screen. There we go, taking a look. Winford in the background, we see FM gets a score. Winford is really hunting down the Seeker. Dementor has been really wiggly and has been able to catch on a lot of other teams. And so the Squires know that Winford's going to be going after them. Dementor knows that he has the pressure to hold all of the 30 points from Squires, but Static Kiwi goes down. That is a point, or going to be a lead right now for Dementor. But Dementor's also low. We're watching it get really close from Dementor. We'll take a look at his perspective now. Getting close to that 100% on the snitch catch. We'll go ahead and switch so that way we can see a Seeker side by side right now going into this. On the left, we have one side. On the other, there we go. Not too sure why it's lower than intended, but you guys will have the side by side nonetheless here. Looking pretty good. Just watching as that snitch gets closer. Both teams are really close, but nice and healthy. The 100% is about to come out from both sides. And there we go, Dementor getting the catch. We'll go ahead and go back. Very well played there from both sides, but ultimately the catch goes in favor of the Squires, leading currently by 10 points in the 3-minute mark. We'll go ahead and take a look at Kiwi's perspective here in a second. Catch goes first. I think the first 5%, yeah, goes to Dementor, so he's found both snitches again. We'll take a look over at FM, over on the Nifflers. FM has been going up, but WM just sinks it straight in. 30-30, tied game right now. Looking at this, less than 3 minutes into the game. This is going to come down to second snitch, I feel like. With the amount of time on the board, there's not a whole lot of time in which you're actually going to be able to score back to back to back. With how tight this Quaffle game has been, it's been very defensive. But something to note is the Squires haven't scored a single Quaffle goal yet. It's all been the Nifflers sinking it in. Good teamwork from their aspect, and they're keeping it on the side of Squires for the most part. We see It's coming in right now, but WM gets possession, heading downfield. Winford takes out Fatty Momadi, a very strong chaser for the Squires, and WM is just kind of holding it, trying to let his chasers get upfield, trying to allow them to set up, get those one-timers, get the pressure, and ultimately Time Bomb wasn't sure where it was going to go, and WM sunk it straight in. 40 to 30, 2-minute mark here. Looking at the second snitch, going at around the 50% mark for both players right now. We'll take a look at Secret gameplay from Dementor going into this. Staying healthy, staying alive. Static Kiwi on the other side is currently low, and Static Kiwi falls. Top right, we do see Hopla takes down Static Kiwi, so that gives Dementor a small little lead. But what we've seen before is, just because you've died once, just like Dementor had died before, it doesn't mean you're out of the race. Some bumps and tackles from your beater can change the factors. Taking a look right now, Quaffle is back in possession near Time Bomb. It's been a lot of attempts right now from the Nifflers onto Time Bomb, so even though they haven't scored as many, the amount of attempts on goal just shows that they're holding on to the Quaffle and getting it downfield. Count Tails being a brick wall of a keeper, not letting a single Quaffle go through. They need to make sure that if you're the Nifflers, you need the score to get the snitch like insurance, or you have to really put a lot of effort. There we go, we see 50-30. They need to have a lot of effort on Dementor right now. Dementor's getting close to the second snitch, and that's going to be an extra 30 points, and that'll put him back in a 10-point lead. So they need to be able to get Dementor down right now. We'll take a look at Dementor, see how he's doing. There's a bludger hit right there. We'll go ahead and switch over to Winford's perspective as well here in a moment. You can just see between the two players, switching over to this, you can see one side, the snitch. What we're looking at on the left side is Winford on beater. On the right side, we see Dementor. We'll try and see how he tries to stop Dementor, and he doesn't get it in time. Dementor was able to get the catch. There we go. We're watching another situation here where we're going to be seeing snitch catch come through. Let me make sure I get this correct here. I messed up the scores, so I'm just fixing those real quick, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. There we go. 50-60 in the last 18 seconds now. It's going to come down to the Chasers scoring, which they did, and that is going to bring us into overtimes, ladies and gentlemen. So the extra 5% that Dementor got once again on Squires is going to come useful into this overtime snitch catch. We're watching right now, Quaffle gameplay has been dominant for the Nifflers. It's been really close both sides, and they've been able to consistently get this down. One thing I didn't account for when making my overlay was sudden death. Sudden death moves down the score a little bit, so don't mind that little hesitation right there. I can go ahead and take it down for the current 60-60. Both sides getting close. Time Bomb is needing to defend a lot of Quaffle goals right now. We're watching FM currently on the Nifflers. Getting close right now, both sides. WM with the Quaffle, heading towards Time Bomb. Able to get past him, but not score. Set up right now from FM, and it doesn't go through on a one-timer. WM with a rear cam shot doesn't quite go through. 50 seconds on the board right now. Both Seekers are still hunting after that snitch. It's getting close. Dementor might have a triple snitch catch going into this. The one-timer set from FM, really close to goals. WM trying to get close and just push it through. 1 minute into a sudden death right now. This is getting really close for both sides. We're taking a look right now at both teams getting close to snitch catch. Either side can get this. We're watching a lot of pressure though on Time Bomb. The Quaffle could score before Dementor has time to catch. There we go. We're watching Count Tails of Leaves. That is going to be unfortunate. And there we go. We see a fall. We're watching Dementor's point of view real quick on Seeker. This is getting really close from both sides on this Seeker gameplay. We'll go ahead and split view this for you guys. I know with the sudden death, it makes it look a little wonky, but you guys can see it still just a little bit. You can see the idea. I'll probably take it down for this one as well. That's something to focus and fix on. On the right-hand side, you are seeing the Squires. On the left-hand side, you are watching the Nifflers. Getting really close. Static Kiwi needing to be able to get the snitch catch here. Dementor is getting a really close race. The Quaffle's not going in from either side. Dementor's in the lead here, getting close to his 100%. The bump comes through from Dementor, stopping Kiwi, but Kiwi's right there in front now. This can come down to a single tackle, and Dementor falls by Kiwi. Kiwi's able to get the elimination on Dementor. That is huge. 100% comes out from the Nifflers, and Kiwi off of the bench doesn't get the catch there, but going into friendly territory. Bludger comes in for the speed boost dodge and able to try and make an attempt here. They're getting harassed left and right, having to dodge stuff. Dementor's back in the race. Dementor makes a bump. Kiwi wasn't able to get the catch here. Dementor going into it, Doesn't quite have the 100% that he once had, but it is very close, and the Snitch feels a lot faster. We're seeing Static Kiwi back at 100%. Dementor close to that 100%. There we go. Again, the bumps coming left and right. It is anyone's game, and there we go. Dementor with the Snitch catch. That is going to be Squires taking game 1, 90-60. No quaffle goals from Squires here. But we did see a lot of the play came from Nifflers on the Quaffle gameplay, shutting down a lot of stuff, and a lot of good play from Kiwi as well. Well played both sides. That was nearly a 3-minute long overtime. Kind of a stressful situation there. A lot of the players probably didn't expect for it to go that late. But I do see Neo had joined my casting booth. Neo, are you there? We'll see what Neo. How did you feel about that match? That was very well played. One second, I had you guys muted for a second because Discord audio was on the wrong Discord. Now you guys can hear it. Go back into your scream mode, Skinny.
Okay, oh my gosh, what a OT. Time Bomb putting up the defensive wall for, what, 3 minutes? It was absolutely incredible. The pressure, the poise, being able to maintain that level of play while getting shot on constantly, people behind the net, people in front of it, just incredible. Way to go, Time Bomb. That was incredible. And then what? It was like a 3-minute OT snitch catch, right? Just both Seekers not willing to give up an inch to maintain the to maintain that lead, even the death, and still coming back to get it. It was that was pretty incredible.
And then I know you kind of got talked over there, Neo. You can go ahead and give your thoughts now. Neo's like, I got talked over. I don't want to talk again.
Yeah, I scared him away. He's definitely in chat, so it's all good. But yeah, it was such an incredible game. Like really, really well matched on both sides. Obviously, it went into OT, but you could tell, right? Everything was there. The snitch pressure was there. The quaffle game was there. It was quite the match.
And I do have some statistics here. I'm currently filling them out so that way you guys will be able to see them, and I'm having to realize that I need a faster way about going about this if I'm going to continue doing it at this way that I am currently. But we'll have some statistics here. While I fill these out, go ahead and just yap a little bit, talk a little bit, Skinny, about how you think both teams need to go into their next match.
Kind of hard to say, right? Like just the overall pressure from both teams on Snitch was very good. You have to maintain that. While also, I would say we had what 60. It was a 60-60 match going into the OT. So probably a little bit more defensive resilience on the chaser play for the quaffle. We really want to force that ball onto one side of the court more often than the other. I really feel like it was kind of an even split between that. WM Gaming really putting on the offensive pressure for the Nifflers, right? So make sure you get the ball into his hand more often. Obviously, Count Tails leaving in the middle of the OT was unfortunate. So, no disconnects next match would also be really great. But overall, I think just the game plan doesn't need to switch up that much. Just both teams need to just lock in and really bring it home.
Very well said. We're going to go ahead and get some statistics up here for you guys. I'm just finishing out the Seeker real quick. Dementor doing a really good job. Staying alive a lot of times, but ultimately able to finish out those snitch catches. Just making sure all of my data looks correct here. And then you guys will see what I've been working on. Besides the split screen, I think you guys liked the split screen view between the Seekers. Let me know what you guys' thoughts are regarding that. But now, if I go ahead and switch views, you guys will be able to see, and for those who are in the casting booth, you can also see, we're taking a look at beater and seeker statistics from the last game. On the left-hand side, you have the Nifflers, the beater of a Winford, and you'll be seeing the seeker of Static Kiwi. On the right-hand side, you see the Squires. The Squires beater was Hopla, and the seeker was Dementor. So, these statistics, taking a look, we seeing eliminations, one seeker from one kill from Winford, and then 2 kills from Hopla on the right-hand side. And then I'll kind of refer to these Nifflers and Squires as well, but 0 beater kills from the Nifflers, Squires recognizing Winford's potential and taking out the beater once there. And then from Chasers, we see a little bit more Chaser aggression, having 2 kills and 1 on Squires, 0 on the Keeper there. And then looking at the tackles, tackles at right there is targeted tackles, so that's when you line it up and you have the click in which you get a full bar to tackle. The one on the bottom is untargeted tackles. So we see it was very close. Both beaters hit the same amount of untargeted tackles, and none of them went for targeted. So you see him hitting 9, and on Winford's side, he hit 9 out of 33 of them. And then on Squire's side, you see 9 out of 35 of them. And then down on the bludgers, this is where we see a huge difference as well. Seeing the bludgers, we see 37 summoned from the Nifflers. 34 of those were thrown, 10 of those were boosted, 2 intercepts, and 7 evades. The evades here are making sure that you can see how many of like the beaters are getting attention. So if the bludger's thrown at them and they have to dodge a bludger, that's what that statistic shows. Squire side, we see Hopla throwing nearly like double. I mean, not quite double, but really close to double of the amount of bludgers. Definitely more bludger heavy, throwing 57 of those, or summoning 57 times, throwing 51 of them, boosting 20. Double of those is boosted. And then 0 intercepts, so they're not running an intercept build. Probably like a 406 if I had to imagine, due to how many summons there was. And then evaded 3 times. Looking at the Seeker side, 0 snitches from, looks like, from Static Kiwi. That was the name I was looking for. But the amount of Chaser goals that came through allowed them to have that snitch insurance every single time. On the right-hand side, Dementor did catch 3 snitches. That's 2 in regulation play and 1 in overtime. And then looking at snitches found first, it was pretty close. Static Kiwi was able to find 1 of them, and the 2 others Dementor was able to get. So that gives you 5%. That allows you to have a little bit of extra edge going into the secret gameplay. Snitch
Yeah,
rings.
you can really tell too. I think the one stat that's jumping out the most on this page is the bump attempts versus successful bumps landed. You got 26 thrown, but 3 from the Niffler side, and 18 attempts and 14 successful. That's a huge, huge difference between the bump attempts on Seeker.
That's a lot of landed, and each of those bumps, if he's running meter steal or meter thief, that's
Mhm.
10%. Even without the meter thief, it's up to 5%. So that's huge in that aspect. And then looking
Yeah,
at the
on top of all
bludgers,
that damage too that you lay out when you connect with those bumps as well.
yeah, and then bludgers sent. That is how many bludgers make their way and then they're able to dodge. So if you see 17, we're looking at the right hand side Squires Dementor. 17 bludgers were sent his way, and out of those, 3 of them stunned him. So the other stuns that can be tackles, keeper kicks, and such. But the stunned bludger shows you exactly how many bludgers hit them. 3 on both sides. Bludger sent 10 more from Hopla on the right hand side, but that also comes out with 31 or 34 thrown from Winford, 51 thrown on the other side. Definitely some good stats here for you guys to be able to look at. Takes me a little bit longer to set this up to make sure that we get this information, but I'm hoping you guys enjoy having this sort of information here. What are you feeling about this, Skinny? Taking a look now. I know you talked a little bit, but I'll give you a little bit more information.
Yeah, absolutely. Just the I think the game plan going forward for Squires is to just let the mentor cook, right? Like if he can have a repeat game as to what he had previously, they're doing all right. And then definitely for the Niffler side of things, right? Notice that those bumps are going out. Maybe get on comms indicating that the bumps are happening, right? Say, hey, the bump was thrown. Get a bludger in there to burn the dodge as well, and then let have the seeker get opened up during the keeper side chase by the rings. So potentially more communication from the Nifflers on your game, but as far as the Squires, Dementor is cooking with gas, and you want to keep that flame lit. So take care of him, protect the crown jewel, and let him rock.
Yeah, and no quaffles going through from that last side. Definitely some locked down Quaffle gameplay from the Nifflers. How do you feel like the Squires need to change that up to be able to get Quaffle scored?
Definitely, I would say sending two, calling for those one-timer plays. Those are always good to help crack keeper zones. I know what I like to do specifically is delay the approach timing. So if you've got a keeper that's really got your positioning and timing down, maybe stop boosting as you approach the rings, stop completely, then throw the dodge last minute. Everyone knows, you don't want to play like a reaction keeper, but if you push them back far enough and then back up, right, just vary the approach. That might help you create some artificial distance, get that dodge in, and then sink the ball through the hoop.
Well said. That's your skinny insight from the Chaser gameplay. And for those who are mentioning in chat the Chaser stats, for this one, I was working on mainly over the winter break, kind of improving some production quality, getting that split screen view in there. It threw me off with the sudden death and made it look a little bit weird for the sudden death for my scoreboard. So I'm going to add that to my list of things to work on. But besides that, I wanted to show some stats for Beater and Seeker specifically, because a lot of times, unless it's down to 100% on both the snitches, we don't get to highlight the Seeker gameplay as well. And a lot of times the Beater is the untold hero in a lot of times. So this is my way of shining some extra light on the Beater, making sure that you guys get to see what's going on behind the scenes, because you don't get to see that they landed 9 out of 33 untargeted tackles, and we also don't get to normally see that 14 out of 18 bumps were successful from Dementor, whereas only 3 out of 26 from Kiwi. So this is a little bit of my way of kind of highlighting these stats. Maybe I'll do chasers and keepers next, but this was my way of kind of putting it out there so that way you guys had a little bit more information and a little bit more highlight on the beaters.
Plus, imagine a stat sheet with 3 chasers on both team. Oh my gosh, talk about clutter.
Yeah. Fumbles are something I can add, Slovenius. I will note that down internally in my brain here. We are currently waiting for the both teams to ready up, probably with how close it was going into overtime for nearly 3 minutes. That's one of the longest overtimes I've seen in this game. Normally it's pretty short between both snitch catches being caught quicker, and then also just a quaffle eventually slips through. Under the pressure of sudden death, it makes people's hearts race and gets them adrenaline.
Yeah, between between watching Time Bomb save all those consecutive shots in a row and the snitch chase just going back and forth and back and forth, even with the knockout and still making its way back in there to get that last hit to catch it, it felt like 3 hours instead of 3 minutes.
And it does look like we will see a roster change coming from the Squires. It looks like they're going to be running Nikki Sticks, their other. So let me go over to the team rosters. Say goodbye to the stats for a moment. Taking a look, there is lots of different ways that you can run this on the Squire side. Hopla is inside of, if you see like their kind of extra roster, the other players in there, but now main roster Sticks is up there, and that is actually the captain of the Squires. So we'll be seeing that going out. For those who are asking, let's see. Winford said game 1 is going to be reran. A rematch of game 1. Game 1's being replayed over a pre-match agreement. Because it seems like due to the disconnect during overtime.
Wow. That's a heartbreaker for the Squires.
That really is, especially with how close that was in general, going into overtime for so long.
Beesman, the fake disconnect? Stop it. No one's pulling the plug on their router in OT. No one would do that here. I would do that. I mean, I wouldn't do that, but no one would do that.
Nobody but Skinny here would do that.
Oh my goodness, don't put that on me.
All right, we're going to go ahead and take a breather. You guys get some water and some snacks. We're going to run a quick ad break so that way it doesn't happen in mid-match once again, because otherwise it's going to happen in 6 minutes, and I don't want that to happen for you guys. So go ahead, grab you guys some water, grab you guys some snacks. If game 1 was that close and it's being remade, we're still in for another possible 3 matches between these teams. Stay tuned. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, it is getting there again. The next match, which is going to be Game 1 Remake, is what we're going to be seeing here. So it is going to be, once again, 0-0 going into this matchup. We'll be seeing the look from the Nifflers.
Alright, everyone. Erase everything that just happened. Brand new start. Let's go.
Let's hope that we see a little bit more of a stronger Quaffle gameplay from the Squires. First game, Nifflers were able to shut out Quaffle gameplay, but right off of the bat, they go into this strong Grobby games, able to get it straight into the hoop, making a 10-0 in the first 20 seconds for the Squires. Does look like the
nice
Snitch,
quick conversion there.
Yeah, Snitch Catch did go, or Snitch Found was going to Kiwi, so she got that 5% lead as well.
Absolutely. And getting those early points is always nice. The more you can kind of stack up that early lead on Quaffle really forces the other team to focus on the Snitch specifically because you want to bring it back. And then that opens up the Quaffle game even more for you as well. So keep applying that pressure and get that Quaffle game running.
We're seeing It's Harry right now with a one-on-one against Tails and sits it right through. Something changed from the Squires on the Quaffle gameplay where they realized we were losing points, we weren't making any sort of Quaffle goals, and now they're going hard into this on the Quaffle gameplay, knowing that Dementor was able to catch 3 snitches in their other game. And so now with that, they're kind of letting off of Dementor and letting off the secret gameplay and pushing harder, it seems like, on Chaser. But WM in the background, able to get a score while we're watching FM trying to intercept and kind of get a little bit more damage on Dementor. Take a look at Dementor's point of view.
Yeah, go for it. Let's look at the Snitch.
Just over 50% now, we see that medal come out for the 50%, but Dementor is still nice and healthy. Lots of people were going after him, but he's making sure that he's remaining vigilant. Hopla taking out Winford. Definitely we see a little bit more of that beater-on-beater action because they know Winford can come out with those punches. And a well played from them side. We'll be switching over and taking a look at another Chaser's point of view here in just a moment. We have a lot of Chasers to be able to choose from. The full roster from Nifflers is giving us their point of view. Shout out to them for that. We'll take a look at WM Gaming, the leader of the Nifflers. Taking a look. Now, normally WM plays beater, but while Winford's on the team, he's been running a lot more Chaser, and he's doing a pretty good job. He scored the first goal so far, and he scored a lot during the last game, too.
Yeah, I've been running into WM a lot, just running around solo queuing, and he's definitely improved drastically as a Chaser. A good grab there, though, from Time Bomb, getting it back to FM to get back on the other side of the field.
FM currently able to send it up. WM with the nice pass. Didn't go for a one-timer, just went for a slow amount of setup for FM to get the one-timer into there. Well played. 2020 going into the 4-minute mark. It looks like Snitch Catch is getting very close from both sides. We'll take a look at Dementor's POV for a moment now. And then we'll take a look as well at Kiwi's point of view, and we'll get you guys that lovely split view between the two Seekers. Going into this, both getting close to that 100%. We've seen a lot of bumps coming out from Dementor, and he doesn't get them. This time it goes into Kiwi's hands.
Now, completely different game that we saw the first time as the exhibition match. A lot more even on that Quaffle game, and again, that Seeker was super close, just a little bit to get that one catch right at the end there.
Yeah, we see Dementor gets the early find for that 5% once again. That's going to help him a little bit due to the playstyle has been really close on that Seeker gameplay. It's coming down to whoever loses or dies. We'll take a look over at Chaser gameplay. FM getting bullied a little bit. You see him in the red, but his team is currently defending. Count Tails being a brick wall again. He did really good last time, and he's showing that he's still keeping that up, even though 2 goals have slipped through.
Really hard to guard those one-timers, so really great vision and foresight, knowing to get in front of that toss, that shovel pass in front of the other player there.
Fatima Matty, a pass forward over to It's Harry. It's Harry going into kind of a one-on-one situation there. And you see WM trusts his keeper. He doesn't go into it. He doesn't crowd the goal in the hoops. He doesn't rush in. He knows whatever's going to happen, it's up to Count Tails. And he sets himself up for the pass to be in the right position. That's something that you see some chasers kind of crowd the hoops. And then the keeper, when he saves the goal, has no one to pass to.
Oh, the good snatch out of his hands, though. It's very difficult to get that change of possession by running into the chaser. Usually you have to wait for the throw to get that bigger hitbox to grab it, but what a great pickup, and then you can see there Hoopla with the KO after the dodge and tackle, so very nice there to pick up the chaser down.
Yeah, and just checking in on both sides. Seeker, it's over 50%, it looks like, on the side of the Squires. Nifflers just about at 50%. Still very close on that Seeker gameplay. Bumps will come into play here. We'll take a look back over at some Chaser gameplay. Over on the Squires, we don't have any POVs except for Dementors, so that's why when it comes down to the Chaser gameplay, we're relying heavily on the Nifflers.
Yeah, not seeing a score since that snitch catch. Both keepers really playing in top form right now, keeping it equal for both sides. Relying on the Squires to get that snitch to make it an equalizer, and potentially running into another overtime match.
And there one goes through Count Tails. Fatima Matty on the side of Squires, making it a 50-30 lead of Nifflers. 1 minute 30 seconds left on the match. Second snitch is going to be a deciding factor here with that 30 points. Dementor's currently in the lead by just barely.
Yeah, Squires up just a bit. That's going to come in handy as it gets down to those final minutes worth of, or the final minute worth of time as that snitch meter starts to increase as it goes down there. So we'll see how they finish it out.
Dementor is getting low though. We'll take a look over at his point of view, and there we go. We watch Dementor fall, and that's going to be huge in regards to this gameplay. Static Kiwi is going to possibly be able to get this catch here. We watched the last game, Dementor had fallen, but Static Kiwi hit it 100% and was still getting harassed. I know this is getting close from WM getting ready to score, and Static Kiwi comes in with the 80 points. That is a 50-point difference there. 40 seconds left to go. This is unwinnable from a theoretical level here.
Yeah, great catch. 2 snitch catches by Kiwi this game. Really, I think they saw your stat page and said, all right, I know exactly what I need to work on and start getting those bumps going. But yeah, the double snitch with 30 seconds left on the clock is going to shut this one out and move us, after the time elapses to our second game.
We're trying to see if they're able to make any more of a point difference here going into this. 80-30, runs into the hoops there from WM, not able to quite get the score there, a little too close. There we go.
As a chaser, I feel that in my soul. No more aim assist for those easy shots that just drift up into the hoop. Now you actually have to point and click. So painful.
Yep. Ending score being 80-30. We'll go ahead and
really good game, yeah.
We'll switch it back over real quick to the team rosters page while I go ahead and get you guys some extra stats there. Tux has joined us in the booth as well. Tux, how do you feel about that game?
I feel like the Nifflers kind of stepped up on their Seeker gameplay, while on the other hand, the Squires kind of stepped down on the pressure. Especially in the end, I feel like the Squires need to get more tackles in on the Seeker, because the end phase is like where it comes down to everything. I think last round, the Snitches were mostly close too. and you just need their tackles at the end. One tackle can decide the snitch at the end, and the snitch is just lost here. So I like that the Squires stepped up their chaser game by scoring a lot, especially in the beginning. But after that, just focus more and just secure the snitch for the mentor.
And then Skinny, your thoughts?
Yeah, okay, complete turnaround from the Nifflers on the Quaffle game as well. I think they put up 30 that match. So very, very good. I guess team, whatever they talked about, definitely came in handy. They were able to convert a lot more effortlessly than they had in the previous game. So definitely keep on with that mentality, keep on with that attitude. The one-timers are really good. Just be aware, both of these keepers are extremely talented. They're picking up on those one-timers. So go for the cross, go for the straights. Don't be afraid to take the last-minute move to the other hoop to try and sail it in. But yeah, aside from that, what a turnaround by Kiwi to get the double snitch as opposed to the previous game where Dementor had 3 snitches. So I have no idea what's going to happen in this third game because both teams can't have 2 snitches, and it seems like it's either a feast for one or famine for the other.
For the defense of the Squires, I saw from the attack of the Nifflers in the chaser game, I saw an interesting shot from WM Gaming compared with his other chasers. Like WM Gaming went pretty close and just forced the keeper back into being reaction keeper, then turned around and then just shovel pass back to a one-timer setup behind him. So the one-timer is going into the reaction keeper. And I think Squires need to realize that this is a shot and just need to go for the tackles behind, because it's a free tackle and it's a free goal that you can like just save easily.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the most important defensive plays you can make if someone has gotten past you is just going for that one-timer option. If you can't make a play on the Quaffle carrier, make a play on the second choice shovel pass into a one-timer, because if you force the one-on-one engagement with the keeper, both Count Tails and Time Bomb have proven that they can handle it. And so it'll be able to really help out defensively, just making sure that they don't have to worry about 2 chasers and just 1.
Yeah.
I'm just making sure all the stats look correct. This is still a trial and error. And I'm trying to make sure that either Hopla popped off that last game or I accidentally collected the stats from Hopla's last 2 games. So just bear with me on that front real quick. Because right now it shows that Hopla summoned 101 bludgers.
Wow.
It's really impressive.
Just spamming the summon button the entire game. Nothing else matters but getting that bludger in my hand.
I'm not sure if that's even possible in that time, but
Anything is possible if you click hard enough.
It's a possibility. I'm going to put up the stats here in a second. I do find another funny thing is Winford missed a targeted tackle that game.
Wow, that was very targeted attack on Winford.
We'll have those stats up in just a second. I didn't get around to making this an automated process yet. That is the next in my pipeline, but the matches came so soon, and I had my own practice and life to do. And we'll take a look.
Good. I'm sure everyone is very appreciative of all the hard work you're putting into making this extremely official looking. This is almost better than half the stuff on ESPN. We get some hearts in the chat for Cypress and the effort he's putting in.
All right. Now, we'll take these stats with a grain of salt, but it gives you a general picture. Either this is from one single match or this is from... I think it's just one single match, to be honest. I think Hopla just popped off there as far as the bludgers go. But there's the stats that I'm looking at right now. You guys can go ahead and talk about these stats real quick. Now, if it is from just the last match, you have that in mind. Otherwise, it's the cumulative of the last 2 matches. And so it's fair on either side. But you have that information now to talk about from either just the last game or how they're doing so far in the series.
Yeah, it would make sense potentially because it was 34 to 50 something. So maybe that is the accumulation of both. So it seems like it would be the same. Yeah, Snitches caught 2 and 2
Yeah,
potentially.
2-2,
This
that's
is a work in progress, so we don't know how accurate
Also,
this
I'm
is.
not sure if 113 snitch rings is really the shit that he got in this match, but that's a lot.
Oh, the snitch. I know definitely the Seeker came down to no snitches caught on his side. There we go. I fixed that one.
also, I think 4 snitches found first doesn't matter.
We'll
But
hide
yeah,
the
so-
Seeker stats.
Well,
Like I said, this is our first run of seeing how these stats will look on everything, and I'm trying to make sure everything gets pulled well and for you guys. It's
Yeah.
it's something in the works.
Divide everything by 2. That's how we're looking at this right now. But yeah, I think what is being shown is the Squire beater likes to throw bludgers a lot, and so you kind of think about it at these high level games. You know, dodging a bludger seems to be second nature now, right? Like you see the bludger indicator, you know exactly when to dodge. But I feel like if you have such a large amount getting summoned and potentially targeted on you, it does start to interfere with your game plan because now you're no longer thinking about, should I be following the snitch this way? Should I be worrying about the dodges of a bump or another chaser? But you're also getting absolutely hounded by these bludgers being summoned and thrown at you as well.
All right, I got everything refreshed on my end. So this next match coming up here, as they're loading in right now into game number 2, we'll have accurate stats for this one. I apologize. Game 2, technically 1, didn't quite go the way that we wanted it to. But
All good.
definitely something
Game
like we
2 with
mentioned.
air quotes around it, right?
Yeah, game 2
I
with
just
air
wanna, I
quotes.
just wanna, I just want to point out real quick that the tackles are pretty equal. So whatever's causing the snitch at the end, it might just be like the last couple chaser tackles. I saw mostly the snitchers are, I think they're both full most of the time. So it's just who can stun it long enough so the other one is in front in the end.
Yeah, the tackles definitely has been pretty equal, but the amount of bludgers coming from Hopla is huge comparison. Either even if this is duplicated from the last 2 matches, we got to see a lot of just bludger play from Hopla, and I'm guessing she's running a 406 build, and that's going to give her more of that beater bludger pressure from her end. We're just
Absolutely,
waiting.
and on the snitch numbers as well, you can see, you know, the bump attempts and successful bumps landed from Dementor. That ratio still extremely high. So I think Kiwi just realized that they're gonna get the bumps in. I'm just gonna have to take it and build my game plan around knowing I'm gonna get hit.
And it does look like we will be seeing a change from Hoppa over on the Squires to Nikki Sticks. So that was a change that we were going to see happen, and then when the game got decided it was going to be remade, they went ahead and switched over, so that way they had their captain Nikki now on beater. But something to know is like Hopla was throwing a lot of those bludgers, but now we'll see how it depends if we go into the Sticks. We'll see how Sticks plays.
Absolutely. And so again, we saw a lot of summon bludgers. We'll see if we have more tackles this time around versus the summon bludgers. Make sure you refresh that API.
Yep,
so
I
we
did.
can get this-
Everything's refreshed.
All right, perfect. But yeah, an interesting swapping out the beater, right? So beater is kind of one of those positions where, you know, chaser's pretty much solved, right? Everyone knows one timer is cracked. Same thing with keeper. Do you like lunge kick? Do you not like lunge kick? But pretty much everyone runs 6 in that top tree as well. With beater, I feel like there's slightly more flexibility. It's really strong to have that tackle build and have the 5% snitch in that bottom tree. But I know some beaters like the ability to steal and throw a lot of bludgers very often. So we'll see if there's a difference in philosophy and gameplay because of that beater switch.
All right, looks like they are getting into the next match. It is going to be on Weasley Burrow. This is definitely
Classic.
some of those people that like to bounce shot, such as Crazy Combs' very own Shoni and Neo. They don't like this map because the lines aren't there. But we'll go ahead and get into this. Going to be watching from the perspective of Winford going into this. Give it a little bit more of that enjoyment for the viewers of the exciting Winford. Self-proclaimed
player.
beater king.
Yeah, immediately you see him grabbing the ball and tossing it right away. So no reprieve for Dementor as Winford grabs his ball and starts tossing it.
We're watching Winford right now, trying to make sure that Kiwi gets an early lead on the snitch. We've seen a lot of that last time where Dementor had that 5% find. He got it once again in this game. And so being able to kind of bring it down to an even ground, either from tackles or just killing him, is definitely going to be something that makes Kiwi feel a little bit better that they weren't able to find the snitch and claim that 5%. Winford's got a very sporadic way of playing. Like, I'm watching right now, and it looks like his cursor can't decide where to look. I know from his end, he knows exactly what he's doing, but it seems like he's very sporadic. It's interesting to watch how different players play, from like smooth sailing from certain players to this more sporadic kind of jumping between everything play style. See top right.
Extremely high DPI means you can turn around in an instant and do something. So if you've got the if you've got the ability to do it, go for it.
So like I was just mentioning, going from Winford's sporadic POV to going to this smooth focus cam, Dementor seeking, and all of that, quite the whiplash between the two. We'll switch back over to Chaser gameplay for a moment. Looking at WM, who's going in right now with possession of the Quaffle. Sends the pass, but it doesn't go into the hands of his teammate. It goes into Fatimo Maddie's hands, but intercepted right away by FM. WM trying to set up. Why is there so many M's? So we got FM and WM. And then Winford with the W. All of these names, definitely confusing.
Absolutely. Just a confirmation. Gertnet was the chaser to break open and crack that first goal. So congrats for Gertnet for getting that in there. We're seeing some pass play, some shovel passes. Those do go to no one, and Cowtails is able to actually kick the ball out. It is picked back up by It's Harry as he makes the return down to try and score. Gertnet with the ball in his hand again, but Cowtails picks it back up. Very strong keeper play. Now we're seeing this on the back half of the field. WM has it in his hands, moving down, running out of boost, so you've got to take a little bit of time to reassess because you want that boost right at the rings, dodging the bludger, and getting picked up by Time Bomb.
And that was another situation where WM seems to get a little bit too close to the rings consistently, where he's not able to score. Just a little bit too close, and then the keeper is able to pick it up. Time Bomb was just kind of stalling, it looks like, holding the Quaffle, trying to maybe get a power kick as the Quaffle comes nearby, because it is getting close on each side. Let's take a look real quick at Dementor's perspective and at Kiwi's perspective. Taking a look at both Seekers, 100% from Dementor on the right now on the Squires. Getting close to this bounce off could be the difference. He dodges a bump, but going into it, he's able to get the catch on that bend. That's going to bring the score from 0 to 10 to 0 to 40.
Yeah, Squires looking dominant in that first half. Quaffle game, again, pretty locked up just from the keeper standpoint, but able to get that early 10-point lead, and now the snitch catch, making a very tall order for the Nifflers to come back in and get this game back on the right track.
What Time Bomb did there was kind of smart, to be honest. He just holded the Quaffle on his side, just kicked it away the moment the Seekers came to him, so he can ensure that the Quaffle isn't close, so he can go for the Seeker kick. And at the other hand, like at the same time, they can launch an attack, so the other keeper cannot kick. That was actually pretty genius.
Yeah, definitely an interesting situation that we're seeing different strategies. They had winter break, 2 weeks to kind of do a little bit more practice, and Nifflers have only played 2 matches so far. They're 1-1. They had a bye week already, and their first match that they played was against Thin Ice, which is known to be one of the most difficult in their division with Crazy Comms as well. So we haven't seen a whole lot out of Nifflers, and this is the time that we get to see some of their gameplay shine. But then Squires, who is a sister clan, getting able to see some of how their gameplay goes. We see a one-timer pass from Fatimo Maddie to Gertnet to score, followed by just doubling and eliminating WM.
Yeah, a little bit of disrespect there, getting the goal and then killing one of the chasers. But you know, taking someone out for 10 seconds is a necessary evil in the game when you want to really lock down one side of the court. So, congrats to the Squires for bringing up the lead to 50.
I quickly switched over. We got to see FM being able to sink in a one-timer goal. They are trying to close in that gap a little bit. Static Kiwi had lost the first snitch, and she's currently behind on the second snitch, but they need to make a gap of at least getting to 20, so that way when they catch the snitch, it goes into 50-50 overtime.
Yeah, it's the mentality you have to take, right? The snitch catch, you just assume your seeker's going to get it, so it's not really a 40-point game, it's actually a 10-point game. So as a chaser, you know, hey, I really got to level this out because I know my seeker is going to pull through.
And there we go, some more pass play between the Squires. This is definitely a change up in their quaffle gameplay. We're able to see more of this teamwork and able to get past Count Tails. Count Tails was doing a really good job, but now the amount of attempts going on his goal has let some slip through.
Yeah, and I think the majority of the goals that are going through in these games are one-timer pass plays. So the keepers on both sides doing an excellent job of holding down that 1v1 situation. But it seems like the 1v2s are starting to crack. And they're, as I say, 1v1 not going through, your boy Kev goes in and souls it and takes that shot.
Very well. We're taking a look right now. Dementor getting close to that 100% on the snitch catch. We're going to take a look at Seeker POVs. Oh, we didn't even need it. Dementor just goes straight in and gets the score. That is going to be a definite words 70-point difference. There we go. Squires leading in the last 40 seconds.
That's a perfect example of scoring is not always good, because this 10 points just costed them 30 points. The moment he scored, like the 10 seconds after, Quaffle respawned and he just got the hero kick off, and that just secured the snitch catch for them here. So I'm not sure if that score was really worth it, 30 points.
Yeah, and Gertnet firing through that Quaffle for the final, for topping off with that 120 games. So Squires answering back in full effect. Dementor coming back, grabbing that snitch, and the Gertnet ending it there with that final 10 points.
This is going to a game 3.
Game 4, if you want to.
Yeah, game 4, right?
There we go, 1-1 both sides. Let me go ahead and make sure I can get those stats pulled up if both teams are taking a small break, as they have been, taking a moment so that way they can kind of collect themselves, make sure that everything is going the way that they want it to.
Yeah, for sure. So Tux, let's explore that that idea you had earlier, right? So your team's down by more than a Quaffle goal. So are you saying that it might be more advantageous to communicate and say, hey, don't necessarily toss this in just yet as the Seeker's rounding into enemy territory? Because if you do get that goal, that massive hero kick is potentially going to down our own Seeker.
Oh yeah, definitely. We saw that on some other teams. I saw that Wing Guardians did that for sure against us one time in a scrim. They're just holding the Quaffle in front of the keeper's goal so that you cannot get any hero kick, just to let the Seeker pass and then you can go in. Or maybe just throw the Quaffle away at this point, go for the tackles. Because in that situation, they really needed that points from the Snitch. Because most people think Snitch is only 30 points, but if you think about it like that, it's 60 points. Because it's 30 points you're stealing from the enemy and 30 points that you are getting. So it's really game deciding.
Yeah, I definitely agree. It's really hard personally as a chaser to be told not to score, right? Because the only thing in my mind is ball through hoop the entire game. So it is a lot of communication that needs to happen, as well as, you know, making the team play versus the individual play, right? Yeah, you're padding your stats, you're getting more goals, but maybe the thing is to distract the keeper, make him think like you're going to shoot, but give your Seeker the breathing room of knowing, hey, I really need that meter going into the rings of my opponent's side. Don't get absolutely destroyed by that massive hero kick.
Oh yeah, I totally agree, and this is the reason why I think every team needs like an in-game leader. You saw that in like other games than Quidditch too. Most games you have like an in-game leader in every comp. In Quidditch, it just makes sense if that's the keeper. So he's having like the best overview. He's having most of the time just free sitting around, and he just can decide, and he just sees in that moment, okay, don't score, because I feel like the chasers sometimes just don't know it, as you said already. Yeah, you just have the ball, you want to score, but then the keeper from the back end call, don't score, we need that snitch.
Yeah, play slow, right? Don't give them even an ounce of an advantage, right? Because, you know, that hero kick does so much damage and it's so large, it really can prevent you from finishing and capitalizing on that snitch catch because it just takes up a quarter of the field.
First of all, it makes damage for sure. The more impactful thing of the hero kick is the long stun that you have. You don't have that on the other kick, you don't have that on the tackle. It's the same stun as if you get hit by bludger almost. And mostly, if you get hero kicked, there's following at least a tackle of the beater and or another kick of the keeper, which mostly kills you. So it's more the stun of the hero kick, but yeah, the damage also is impactful.
Yeah, absolutely. Most likely, team chat's going on right now, talking about that situation, right? Just saying, hey, you know, let's look at this. Let's analyze this from a top-down view, right? We really need these points. We know we can score, but let's hold off, pull up on the gas a little bit just to guarantee step 1, 2, and 3 goes in place versus step 1, 3, 2, right? And so you see there the Dementor catch at the end came in clutch because that hero kick caused such a disturbance in the Seeker game.
Also, while speaking of overview and keeper in-game lead, I am not sure if that was the intention, but if it was, that was brilliant in that game. From Time Bomb earlier, I think I pointed it out in the game already, where he holded the quaffle and then kicked it out the moment the Seekers came, so he ensured that he have time to kick the Seeker and launch an attack when the Seekers are hitting the other goal. I think that just also is a thing as keeper, just get the overview and act for the Seeker, act for the points, act for the whole game and not just for the one goal that you could get scored on.
If you guys take a look at screen right now, I was able to get the beater stuff. The Seeker stuff isn't quite working properly. It's still accumulating everything that's happened so far from all of the matches, but the beater is still doing individual matches. So we'll have pulled up real quick. You guys can talk about that.
Absolutely. Is the Nifflers side is that all of Winford's stuff for that one game, or is that all 3 games so far? Because if it follows suit with if it's divided by 3, because it's kind of equal what it looks like. But if he summoned 90 that game, holy.
Yeah, so I believe it's still cumulative as well.
Okay.
So some stuff to even
So
out right now, but
divide Winford by 3. Understood. So yeah, if you're, I mean, we're
except
definitely
for
looking at.
eliminations. I feel like eliminations, I believe, look pretty accurate.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Just bottom half with the bludgers. So yeah, a lot more equal this time around. So 30, let's say, to 35. A little bit less than 30, so like 22, 28 for 32 for Throne. So as you can see, it looks like the Squires Nicky 6 is a little bit more equivalent to what Winford is playing. So very, very similar types of gameplay for both beaters. So pretty interesting to see also the 4 eliminations, or I guess 1 elimination from the Nifflers as well. So a pretty equivalent beater play all around.
If that rule applies that you said with dividing by 3, I know it's not completely accurate, but then Winford would have had more tackles this game, like 2 more landed and a couple more from like tried tackles. And that it doesn't add up for me. Maybe it's like the chaser gameplay that slowed down the Niffler Seeker more than the Squires, or it was the keeper, one of these. But yeah, it's definitely.
Yeah, I mean, we saw Gertnet really come alive in that game. He was on the board for scoring quite a bit, at least 2, maybe 3 goals there against Count-Tails. So maybe some emerging player. You're feeling the burn right of that first game, so really coming down and making it say, hey, we want that original game 0 game back as game 1, and really put it to the defensive side of the Nifflers.
For the Nifflers, I know we don't have it for this round, but if you compare like the last rounds, the mentor was way better on getting these bumps in, hitting these bumps, and bumps are stealing
All right.
like so much meter from the enemy. So I would assume, or I would suggest more that the Nifflers try like a 5-5-0 against such a strong bumper like the mentor.
We're into game 3 right now. I went ahead and ran a quick ad so that way it didn't finish at the end of the match. It didn't let me pass it any more than I wanted to. So they're going to miss the first minute of the show. But if you go ahead and use your Twitch Primes and subscribe, then you guys won't have to face that issue in the future. Now, we're getting into this matchup. Currently, a game 3 between the teams. Both teams know it's on the line. It can go either way, and both teams are definitely going to be ready for this. We're looking at currently 0-0 at the first 6 minutes the first minute into this. 6 minutes, 20 seconds on the clock right now. Static Kiwi, if you look in the bottom left right now, is able to have 4 health, 5 health. They're starting to regenerate now. They were quite low, and we almost seen a static Kiwi fall early on once again, and that would have been detrimental to the secret gameplay for how close it's been between her and Dementor.
Yeah, absolutely. And a great save there by I believe that's Counttails. I'm looking at a really small screen. But a great grab by Counttails. Again, both these keepers just on the top of their game, not letting standard one-on-one shots go in, having to resort to that 2-on-1 play, which opens up the Seeker game because you have less chasers hounding the Seeker because you have to force that second player to come with you to pass to get that goal in.
There we go. The ad went ahead and finished. I'm sorry for those who had to see it. I had to play it real quick. Otherwise, it was going to go right at the end of the match. We're looking at the first goal just went in at the 5-minute and 40-second mark by Gertnet over on Squires, leading them 10-0 currently. Snitch is pretty close per side, but it is leading with Dementor on the Squires currently, just over about 60%. And Gertnet putting in another one, 20-0. 5 minutes left on the match right now. If you are currently the Nifflers, you need this Snitch.
Yeah, again, Gertnet really turning on the heat. Again, he was really coming to life in that second match, maybe finding tendencies in the keeper gameplay and now starting to exploit them quite heavily in this game. Already 2 in a row from Gertnet to make it 20-0 in the favor of the Squires.
Take a look real quick at Dementor's point of view as it gets close to this snitch catch here while we get all of the other players as well in the line. Taking a look at all of these players, we have a substitution as well with Big Pig having joined the race. There we go. We'll take a look now. We'll see that split screen view that you guys love right now. On the left, you see a static Kiwi on the Nifflers. On the right, you see a Dementor on the Squires, getting close at 100% both sides, and Dementor falls. Winford able to get the kill. Static Kiwi getting close. We'll watch that respawn as a Dementor gets up, so you guys can keep watching Static Kiwi real quick. 100% into enemy territory. It's getting close. Dementor is back up less on the meter, and there we go. Static Kiwi with the snitch catch, making it a 30-20 gameplay. Everybody was on Dementor.
Bump at the end that bump at the end looked really scary because it took a super sharp angle, but Kiwi able to close it out and get that 30 points to put them now in the lead against the Squires.
We'll take a look. Dementor gets the find right there, going into that 5%, going into the snitch race. Take a look. We're looking at WM right now as Gertnet sinks in another one for his team.
Yeah, Gertnet on fire, honestly. Really has, I think it's Time Bomb figured out and is able to convert and connect and get these shots through. Sorry, Gertnet scoring on Counttails. Time Bomb is Gertnet's keeper.
Yes. And we also do now have the perspective of Fatty Momadi. I'll be able to show you guys a little bit of Chaser gameplay from the other side now. Taking a look from Fatty Momadi. He's playing right now a little bit more aggressive where he's been punching and kind of playing more defensive. We're taking a look right now. Pass over to Fatty Momadi, getting ready to go into enemy territory. Counttails kind of just walking back and forth, but the pass play to Gertnet allows the one-timer to come through. Currently 30-40, leading Squires right now by 10 points. Less than 3 minutes left on the match.
Gertnet getting the 4-piece chicken strips from Counttails, unwilling to give up. This is the Chaser's dream to be able to come in and outscore the Seeker. He's 2 away from tying a double snitch from Kiwi, so this is going absolutely crazy. Gertnet on fire.
We watch Fatty Momadi kind of playing really aggressive, making sure that he's knocking out certain problem chasers such as WM. WM was scoring a lot during the first games, and now he's kind of getting shut down. And we see in the top right, Static Kiwi also falls. So this is going to be a lead right now for Dementor going into the snitch catch.
Yeah, absolutely huge. Getting those knocks down. The tackle doing 5%, the knock doing 10%, I believe, for a total of 15% down on a kill, which is huge, huge, huge. So Dementor with a nice lead right now. Hopefully he can hold on to it. Score from Fatty Momadi coming in, making this game pretty good for the Squires.
Yeah, he just sunk it straight in. He went right past Counttails and was able to get the score that he needed. We're watching Fatty Momadi's point of view one more time right now. Going into this, his team with possession of the quaffle. Just watching this currently as it's going right now, making sure that this is going to be not a remake of what happened last time. The Nifflers having that first snitch, going into this, need the second snitch. There we go, we see Harry. There we go, making another score. Gertnet can't score them all. currently the snitch insurance is in the favor of Squires.
Yeah, six quaffle scores is absolutely massive, right? Like you said, snitch insurance. You could really carrying the team right now, saying, hey, we can't let Gertnet steal the show, right? We've got to be able to show we can also contribute as well. So a really, really strong effort from the chaser core of the Squires.
Since
Dementor's
Dementor's
currently
one hit, they might need it.
Yeah, he currently did try and get a bump, was able to successfully get that, but Winford falls by Fatimo Matty, so the pressure got relieved off of him. Dementor's back at full HP right now, and we're going to be seeing it get really close in the Seeker gameplay. Once again, all of these Seekers, or both of the Snitch battles that have happened every single match have came down to the neck and neck. 20 seconds left in the match, and there we go, Dementor taking it home with the Snitch catch there. Very well played from both sides, but with a 60-point deficit and 20 seconds left, this is not going to go in favor of the Nifflers. This is going to be Squires taking it 2-1, keeping their record undefeated and going in total for the league 4-0 as far as league matches go.
Yeah, what an absolutely stellar game by the Squires. I mean, the Chaser team came in and gave Dementor that insurance, and he said, "That's okay. We don't need it because I'm gonna finish it out with that snitch catch. That one kill on Kiwi made such a huge difference that game."
I also like to see how the Squires Chaser gameplay stepped up with every game, and at the end, it was just perfect.
We're going to be seeing right now. There we go. We see the 2-1 from Squires to Nifflers. Well played from both sides. You guys can talk a little bit while I try and see if we can get the stats, or if it's still bugged. I'll make sure it's fixed for tomorrow. But you guys can go ahead and talk about that game real quick.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. So, Tux, what do you wanna hit on first?
I wanna talk about maybe the setups. Like from the Squires this game. We saw some solo cooks from Gertnet, but we also saw some super interesting one-timer setups. And I still don't know, like the defense of both of them. This is like the main scoring thing that they had. I think Cypress pointed that out earlier. Like the one-timers was the main scoring factor here. And it's so easy counterable if you have a defense that just only focus on that. So if you trust your keeper and say, okay, my keeper can handle the 1v1, or mostly can handle the 1v1, we go for the one-timer tackles, and that can just decide the game here completely. You cannot get scored on.
Yeah,
All right.
absolutely.
It does look like I'll have the stats proper this time for both Beater and Seeker, so just give me a moment while I go ahead and fill in this information.
Yeah, no worries. I think what was interesting is, like you said, the evolution of the chaser play throughout all of these games. We got 4 of them, which was nice. But as you can see, it really started off kind of equivalent on both sides. The goals were very sparse. Both keepers were on top of the game, and then that last game, the game 3, game 4, you really had someone just come up and say, let's start taking over and let's do it now. And Gertnet stepped up to the plate. And when you have a player who's the hot hand, you got to feed the hot hand. And him getting 4 goals really set the tone and the stage, because the Niffler said, all right, they're having their way on chaser. We need to really guarantee the snitch game, and they did that on that first snitch. But that one kill on Kiwi really set the tone, because that distance was never really closed by Dementor, because they had both pressure on Seeker with Dementor getting close, and Gertnet and the Chasers applying so much pressure on offense through the Quaffle game that the Nifflers were split, right? Who do you focus more on? And at that time, both sides of offense were able to have their way, and the Squires came out on top.
Yeah, like you said, it's like a snowball effect. You saw that perfectly in the last match when they had 30-point snitch insurance in the beginning. Yeah, they caught the snitch, but by that time they scored 3 again. They lost the chaser game completely there, and then they had to focus on the seeker, which just, as you said, opened the game even more for the chasers just to score these 60 points. And at the end, the Squires were like, okay, we have the snitch insurance, now we can go for the seeker, and then they got the other snitch too.
Up on screen right now, I have the stats pulled up, and this is from just the last match, so that way you guys have that information to pull from. We're taking a look right now. On the left-hand side, the Nifflers, we are seeing Winford from the Beater stats and Static Kiwi on the Seeker bottom left. And on the right hand side, we'll have Squires, and this was from Nikki Styx's perspective as beater, and then Dementor still as seeker there. Just kind of looking at this overall, something I notice is a lot of beaters aren't going for targeted tackles, and that's the smart choice to make. A lot of times it's a little bit too slow and it's a little bit too predictable. The people are moving a little bit too much for targeted tackles, and Winford did throw out one, but it didn't land. And so that happens whenever people are able to, he has the target, but they dodge last second, or they just get out of his range just barely because Seekers are faster than you. Some other stats to kind of look at is he hit 10 out of 24. Nikki Styx had done less than that, but around the same amount of thrown attempts. So 26 on her side, but only 5 of those landed. Looking at the bludgers as well, pretty evens on summons and throws. And then boosted, you see Nikki threw out a lot more boosted bludgers. So Winford was going for a lot more slow bludgers, letting those kind of hook in or be able to try and hit them at the last moment, kind of let a little bit more go on there. And then also from the seeker sides, we see the one catch, the one found on both sides. Snitch ring's pretty close, 40 on both sides. But the bump attempts to successful bumps ratio, this is what Skinny was talking about earlier. Dementor continuously, consistently is hitting more bumps. He threw out 12 attempts and 9 of those landed. That means that he only missed 3. Over on Static Kiwi side, 9 attempts, only 2 of those landed. Times that they got stunned, this is from tackles, kicks, and any sort of other stun besides bludger hits. And so that we see right there, stuns 14 from Kiwi. Kiwi is under a lot more pressure, 7 on the side of Dementor. And then right below that, bludger hits, we did see Dementor was getting hit more, so hit by 1 more bludger, and then the bludger sent, that's how many went their way, and you see a little bit more going to Dementor. Taking a look at these stats, we'll start with Tux. What are you thinking? What kind of highlights for you? What does this mean?
I like the tackles from Winford. He's like pretty tackle strong. On the other hand, Squires, like the mentor kind of pushed against that with so many successful bumps. And we saw that in the other stats too. It wasn't only this game. He was just so much better on the bumps, which ultimately I think won him more niches. And this is just so deadly. If you have a seeker who's hitting so many bumps, you're just draining the enemy meter. And sometimes the beater just can't work against that. And then the Nifflers had more stuns, obviously, so more pressure, can't move as fast, and you just get chained by that. So ultimately, I feel like the Squires just played it better in terms of hitting the bumps, applying more pressure to the Seeker, even though Winford did a great job on the beater.
And Skinny.
Yeah, absolutely. I think yeah, like the successful bump ratio to bump attempts, 75% is so high. So if you, again, like we've all been saying this whole time, it's almost as if your seeker is acting as like a second chaser, right? Causing damage, causing disruption to the other seeker. And even with the kills on both sides, and then Winford getting 2 beater kills on the Squires beater, still not able to make up that much of a difference just because of how consistent Dementor is at bumping and robbing Kiwi of that meter. So just for all aspiring seekers out there, be aware, you don't just have to run 5-5-0. If you can bump like Dementor, you can run Meter Thief and snatch victory away from someone gaining a little bit faster than you.
And both teams definitely, it came down so close every single time. The snitch was pretty much always at 100% both sides, but it came down to last minute bumps, last minute tackles, and then deaths as well. So it was anyone's race, and that was because Dementor, even though he had died a couple times, and then whenever he was behind on snitch meter, he was able to bring it back with his bumps, and it shows. Even if you didn't see the stats, you can tell Dementor was hitting those bumps. So with that, is there any last words you would like to say regarding this matchup?
Yeah, I mean it's tough when you know, you got people in your same clan fighting against each other, but obviously they both teams did really well, so everyone should be proud of the effort they put in today. Really close games. A lot of intense action and a lot of stars on both sides. I think both keepers did extremely well. The chaser game from the Squires really coming out in full effect after you know, that first game where they relied on triple snitch catch to win, to Gertnet scoring 4, I think, in both the second and third games. So just that evolution of the Squires chaser game, the keepers defense on both sides, and then the seekers and beaters, of course, just a constant battle. No one really was that dominant throughout both. We had a split snitch in the last game, so quite the match.